At every project where you have to design something inside or for an existing space, you will face the problem of how do we get accurate dimensions. And this is something we will take a look at inside this exercise. You can, for example, go into the space and then with a tape measurement and laser measurement device, take measurements, take photos like this, and then write all dimensions directly onto the photo. With an iPad, I did this. This is, in my opinion, a very effective way because while I have the photo, I see all the details. I need to take measurements. If I didn't take measurements for one detail, I see that. I can write it on it. And this is much easier to read and also visualize three-dimensionally compared to just on sheet of paper, writing down the measurements and then writing a word next to it, what dimension maybe I took, or maybe do a quick hand sketch and then add measurements on it. With the photo, it's just super precise and very easy. Okay, cool. The other option now we can do is we can take or look for construction drawings. The city, the construction company, architecture company. These drawings, for example, are 30 years old. And with these drawings, there are two common problems. First, the drawing you see here, is this really representing the final result? Or are these the drawings before construction? Because during the construction, sometimes the client has wishes, something will be changed. And then ideally you want to have construction drawings that reflect actually that change. And in this case, for example, they don't. Another problem we really see here in this lower right corner, distortions. It's not that the drawing was created incorrectly. It's more that the way how these drawings were documented by the city, they kind of like, well, we see the result. It's not very good. So that means we can't really use these drawings and trust them, put them into Sketchup, scale them to the correct scale, and then simply model over it, because there will be probably some misalignments. You will see. Now, another option is also to 3D scan a space. Now, if you have access to a LiDAR scanner, for example, that's built inside an iPhone or an iPad, we can do something like this. So there you see, I start the scanning and I'm swiping up. The software on the fly generates the polygon mesh. And now I will look down, rotate, look down. So I'm like swiping up and down, trying to capture everything that's important. And then after a little bit of processing, we have a nice 3D model. Pretty cool, no? You will say, wow, that's amazing. And kind of like it is, but it just has some flaws. And the biggest flaw, for example, we see right here. Pay attention to this area. You see that gap? Here now we see that's even better. This line and this line does not line up. That means there is actually a shift that happened. Shifting, basically, think about it this way. When we start scanning and moving, the software has to add the new geometry to the existing geometry. And that's actually quite difficult because it needs to take into consideration also how we move. That's why these shifts can happen. So these scans can ideally only be used as a reference. We can process them so they look nicer and clean with better textures like here. And then we can export them into various formats. For example, I can export this as OBJ that then is coming with textures, or I can also export it as STL. Then this does not come with textures. Actually very good for SketchUp, one would say. Now here I have the STL model, and here I have the textured OBJ model. So when I bring the STL model into SketchUp, there we are. When we zoom in, now we can see one problem. It's actually just a mess of lines. There are no faces, no textures. Another really frustrating part is you notice how this turns into stop motion. SketchUp is really weak with dense models. That's why actually this type of work I would never do in SketchUp and simply use any other type of polygon-based modeler. Maya, Cinema 4D, Blender. Blender is the one I use a lot because simply it's very powerful and also it doesn't cost anything. And there we are. And if I bring in actually a measurement plane just to verify, so this should be 8 feet, 8 inches. That is the internal measurement. There you see the scan is actually pretty precise. Also here, when I go back to this back face, there you can see how this is not aligned. So now I don't know, is this wall correct or is this wall correct in terms of distance? But where this scan can actually be really useful for is when we turn on the texture, I can look around. I can go into the space, turn on perspective. No, yeah, perspective, there we have. There, and then, yeah, look around. For example, here we can see the air vents are not inside the mesh, but they're inside the photo. Really nice. We can see that here they centered them nicely. Here they did not center them for whatever reason. And honestly, to me, this I did the scan a little bit fast. I could have made it slower. That's also why it's a little bit jaggy. But this type of a scan, as you can see, is really useful to rotate around. And then we can much better see this three-dimensional space than what we can only capture, for example, just with a photo. Now, if you have access to a laser scanner, laser scanners are kind of like the $50,000-$70,000. They're very precise for interior exterior. Surveyors and architects use it, but that's slightly, as you can imagine, out of our price range. So this crazy idea of LiDAR scanning looks very interesting. It's just unfortunately not very practical because it's not very precise. But good old-fashioned taking photos and dimensions and then cross-referencing that with construction plans really is still a very easy and very usable process. Let me go back one time to here, because one thing is also you see how coarse actually the geometry is. So I can't really find the correct corner of the wall, since when we want to model something more precisely to, let's say, a precision of 1/10 of an inch, quarter of an inch, now we want to have good measurements. We don't get this from these LiDAR scans. Okay, enough of that said. Let's bring this document into SketchUp. Then we will scale it to the correct dimension, and then we start the modeling the foyer geometry. Go ahead and download all the images. The link to this is inside the video description. Before we bring the plan view into SketchUp, let's quickly take a look at the images. Obviously here we have the perspective photo with all the dimensions on it, particularly the door and window, kind of like just enough so we can make a model that looks believable and close. Now we have the plan view. The plan view has few extra measurements, for example, the opening for this pass-through, which you see here. Also, this is a photo where primarily I want to document this area of this place, and also can see the ceiling and the wall. Here, I much more capture how these two walls look like, and here the opposite wall. Again, it's difficult to understand how a space only looks like by plan and elevation view. You also only have limited of these drawings. And then when you go in and simply photograph everything, it's really very helpful to understand how things have to be modeled. Okay, with that said, let's go to SketchUp. and welcome to Sketchup. When we go to window model info, we will actually keep this at architectural because the plan and the elevation view has the dimensions in feet and inches. Because 12 inches is 1 foot, unlike metric, which is like 100 centimeters is 1 meters, so it's very easy. It's actually more easier now to work in SketchUp with architectural measurement unit. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. Probably best will be to go to your parallel projection too. Let's go into a top view and let's bring in that image. Import, and then we navigate to where we have actually the scan. That's not the one. Here, that's the one. Yeah, edited. Very good. Import. Click, click. Okay, cool. And let's model. No, we do not. We need to scale actually this plan first. We can use the scale tool if we want to make ourselves a lot of work, and then we can add a line and then just scale and adjust it to the line. A much smarter way is we're going to calibrate this image. And the image calibration is hidden inside the tape measurement command. The way how this works is actually pretty smart. So we zoom into an area where we can ideally see the start and the end point, like here. It's also good to use a long line because the shorter distances, when I click and click, I kind of need to guess where really does the line start and where does it end. Now you see when we zoom in, it gets really big. And when we have a really long line, the inaccuracy won't be as much of an issue compared to small lines. Okay, so click and click. Okay, I can zoom out a little bit. And the next thing, no other click, but now I type in 37 feet 11 inches and enter. And then you need to get this dialog. Do you want to resize the model? Yep, please. Thank you. Okay, now we can go in and measure. What do we have? Yeah, 37 feet 11 inches. Pretty good. Okay, awesome. Now, we want to model the foyer and then do a rendering. The plan view is positioned so the image is centered at the world. This is not necessarily really ideal because I would be modeling off center, so I will bring actually my image closer to where I want this to be, like there. Cool. Okay. So you see the wall aligned with the Y and the X axis. The process I'm going to show you now, what we model, is actually a paper model. So we don't model it architecturally correct with wall thicknesses and everything. We model more faces so we can texture it, and then when we do a rendering, we can create an illusion. To start, let's go ahead with the pen tool, and this is 8 feet 8 inches. So click and then 8 feet 8 inches and enter. Very good. And then we can press escape. So this is pretty good. This is 4 feet 7 inches. So click and along the y-axis 4 feet 7 inches. Matches pretty good. Okay. From here to there, we see this is 15 feet 8 inches. So I find this endpoint. There it is. 15 feet 8 inches. Cool. And wow, this is slightly off, as you can see. Welcome to distorted digitized plans. It's not really a big problem for us. We're going to trying to rebuild this as closely as possible. And for our goal, it's not important that our model lines up perfectly with this image. I mean, that's not possible anyway. Goodie. Okay, so this line we have, this line we have, this line we have. That is nice. So let's maybe for the moment, we go ahead and go into a three-dimensional view. Like there. Good. When I go to my images here and to there, I see that this height is actually 7 feet 11 inches. In the section views, for example, it says 8 feet. Now, this is actually minus the hardwood floor that's on it. So these dimensions we even need to take with a grain of salt. So this is actually more accurate, more the as-is model or architecture. So we're going to model actually this edge up, and then we bring this piece over. So let's go back. So there we are. This line goes up 7 feet 11 inches and enter. Very good. I would like to be able to very quickly hide this image. So let us create a new tag. I just call this image associated, so I can turn this on and off. Cool. Let's go back to here. How high is this? That is, my eyes are getting old, 16 feet 11 inches, plus minus. Good enough. So this line here, 16 feet 11 inches, enter. Then, see along the x-axis, I go over to there, drag this up, drag this down, click. Cool, I have a filled face. Perfect. This line here, I will, or actually this I will bring up first, there and there. Cool, they have this one now. You see how actually I'm putting in the individual faces. And here this we can open now a little bit. We have actually the dimensioning for it. So what did I write down? 1 foot 7 feet 7 inches. Okay, for this. To ideally find this correctly, I will create myself maybe here a guideline. So 1 foot 7 inches. There we are. And then I need to know how high is this? Where do I have? There I have the dimensions. So 6 feet 9 inches. So this is actually lower than this one. Insane. The inaccuracies. Okay, so 6 feet 9 inches. Where this guideline intersects down here, click, then 6 feet 9 inches. Enter. And then here we can see, no, this is the incorrect number. 10 feet 2 inches. Okay. 10 feet 2 inches. Then this goes down. Click. Cool. That means now this lower line here we can delete. Also this guideline we can delete. Yeah. There we have actually that opening. Pretty cool. No? Yeah, I think so too. Then we need to figure out now, how do we actually build, whoops, sorry for the crazy rotations. How do we build everything else here? This line will go over, and then at one point there will also be the opening. Again, now you will start noticing, whoa, how do we build this? This is where photos like this really come in to be super, super useful. So I need to have a line up, a line over, and then a line down again. I need to figure out how long is actually this line. I have not put this onto the image here, but I have actually this dimension here. So when we go into SketchUp, let's go into a top view, and there we see it. 3 feet 6 inches for the inside plus 5 inch for the wall is 3 feet 11. So along the y-axis, 3 feet and 11 inches. And then I can go down again. And that's complete garbage what I just said. Sorry, forget it. Wah, wah. Actually, here. Now I actually confused myself. Good. I also leave this in just so you see how it's kind of stressful actually modeling this, explaining this at the same time and doing simple math in your brain. And it is also 11 p.m. My voice is also starting to get hoarse, so let's get going. I will extend a line, you see, along the y-axis. There. Cool. The reason why I extended this line is I can now connect this a little bit. There we are. And let me turn this off. Okay, good. So from this line, offset 3 feet 11 inches. No, wrong direction. 3 feet 11 inches. There. This is where actually this one line has to be. There, click. Very good. That was quite embarrassing what I did. And here, this now we connect. There. Thank you. Now I don't feel too bad. Good. Okay. This I will turn off for the moment. Yeah, let's take a look. Yep, there we see it now. It's a little bit off, but the dimensions are actually correct. Now we are going to do a rendering where we see the space from here. So when we go back to our photo, this area. So all the other stuff we don't necessarily really need to model or don't have to model. Just basically kind of like the stuff we see. We want to have a little bit of the surrounding because, well, when the sunlight comes in from this area, here we have some openings, there are some openings. We want to be able to simulate also how light comes into this house. If, for example, we just keep the model like this, light would come in from all different directions and the lighting situation would be somewhat incorrect and different. Okay, good. So let's see how we continue actually now. Okay, so let's turn this on for the moment. And what we will do is we can continue drafting up a little bit more of our wall. So step by step, we are patching everything in. There's the next piece. Okay. The stairs, we don't really see, honestly, so it's not really much use to model it right now. What we kind of like can see here, we have this this part here, and we have a second floor. And the second floor, do we have any dimension here? We kind of like do. So let's open this and take a look at what we have here. So it says 3 feet 6 inches plus 5 makes 3 feet 11 inches. And 4 feet 11 inches, 5 feet and 6 inches. Okay, Good. So that's helpful. Five feet 6 inches. Let's not forget this quickly. So this line I bring over, hopefully till it meets there. There we are. There we are. Very good. And then I will do a guideline along the y direction. 5 feet 6 inches. Come on. 5 feet 6 inches. Thank you. Cool. Okay. So that is actually where now this line here would be. Zack. Good. And then these two lines I can remove. This line I can remove. Okay. We go back. What we now figured out was actually this line. But currently I drew this till here. There's also the thickness. If we go to the section view, this is at least 10 inches plus subfloor. Let's keep this at 10 inches for simplicity reason. Okay, so pen tool, there we are. Let's go up along the Z axis, 10 inches, bring this over. Zack, there we are. Very nice. Cool. Okay. Now, if we would want to, we could create like a small room, kind of like an area here, there. This here I bring over. Perfectly actually snaps. There, bring this to there and up. And this I could bring over to there. And this I would bring to there. I will remove this upper line simply so it's actually easier to see. And this is, I can't connect it this line because technically speaking, there you can see how the stairs go further up, but there is half of, not half, there's 5 inch of a material overlap. So what we can do is here 5 inches, zack, and then here we'll go down to the subfloor over. Very good, thank you. Bang. And let's see, in the second floor, can we see something here? There's a distance, but yeah, we don't really have any measurement here, unfortunately. So this is kind of missing. Stairs are standardized, but I would guess if this is 3 feet 6, yeah, I mean, let's say 2 feet. We can adjust these geometry elements later anyway. So 2 feet. Zack. Very good. Then we bring this over. Thank you. You see all this is actually filled now. That's actually pretty cool. Here I go down over. Very good. And then this I bring over, connect this. Cool. Then I can go over, bring this down. Oh, that didn't actually fill it. What happens if I do it this way? Okay, that did it. Very good. Okay, that did it too. Very good. Oh, interesting. Ah, that is okay. That is SketchUp. Okay. Anyway, we're getting a little bit too much detail, but for what we have there, this right now is perfectly good. Few things to change. This should be white. So all these faces, which are blue, I will select and say reverse face. Okay, very good. Yeah. This face here right now, do we keep this? Yeah, let's keep this there. because it's orthographic, it's kind of like in my view. If we would switch the camera to perspective, it's still going to be in my view. But if I get closer into the space, like here, now you see this is all away. Okay, very good. Parallel projection, there we are. So we have actually a small wall that goes under this area. So we need now, then one of the last pieces here is this angled element. So this one here, we're going to build 39.75 inches. Very good. So let's go ahead. I will draw here a line 69.75 inches. Thank you. And then this line I would like to rotate by 45 degrees. There. Okay. I can copy this line and bring this up to there. And you see where I am right now. And then let's cross fingers. Thank you. It filled the color in. So here, this I will bring over to there. That actually would also solve the problem we had previously when I removed these lines with this stuff happening. See, now this is better because we're putting in actually the ceiling. Draw this over, bang, thank you, and then yeah, this we will oh yeah, it finds actually this intersection along the X there and over. Thank you. Pretty cool. Bring this down. Well, sometimes. Oh no, there you do this. Goofy application. Whoa, what? Yeah. Welcome to the parallel projector. Maybe we just have to go to perspective. No, this is actually, it's okay. Good. Goody. This line here we can also remove to clean it up. Very good. Technically speaking, there will be, yeah, do we put this in? Do we not put this in? This is actually a very good question. Let's do it this way. Now, because I said we're not going to see everything. These lines I have here, they would go later and model this part. And here we have actually this part. This will shorten the area a little bit. So if we go to the top view, let's see, when we model this point straight down along the x-axis, and then we bring this over 5 inches material thickness. Very good. And where do I have this dimension there? 11 feet and 3 inches. So I will do this way. From here, I extrude a guideline, 11 feet, 3 inches. Oh, lines up actually really good. Thank you. And that means suck. And where is actually, there it is. Suck, suck, going straight up there. Thank you. Is this actually 5 inches? Let's measure. Yeah, it is. Very good. This is where the door would be. So you just understand where it is. I actually model this straight up till it hits that face. Then I go along the y-axis, go down, cool. And here I will go this way, but I don't necessarily know actually how far. So I will add a guideline, 5 inches. There, thank you. And here I draw this line, and then so does this actually meet up with a corner up there? It does not. It meets up with a corner there. Okay, good. Let's cross fingers that this, oh yeah, it does. Very good. Okay, so this line here, I will align up with that corner there. So I should be able to move this along the y-axis, x-axis to there. Cool. Then this face I can select and delete. Very good. I will delete this line one more time because if I now redraw it, it should fill it. Yeah, it did. And then also here I do it this way because now I can select this face and delete it. This edge here I can delete. This I can delete. This I can delete. Yeah. Okay. These two lines I keep because they basically indicate the wall height. And that's where the floor actually would be. Okay. Yeah, look at that. You see, I agree. If you're new to this, it's kind of like Sudoku for your brain. Doing this at now 11:18 is maybe not the best, but hey, you can watch this video whenever you want. I can only work when I have time. There, suck. We closed this line. Very good. Wow, we're getting close to what we want to do. Let's actually model at least a little bit of the wall here. So we do 5 inches, then we go straight up with the arrow key. I clicked, so it only goes along the z-axis, click, and then connect this over along the y-axis to there, click and click, and then the z-axis, click and click there. Cool. Okay. Beautiful paper model. Okay. Yeah, I would actually say this we can delete. We're getting really, really close. Then we can model the openings here, model the detail there, put in the floor. We should at one point do something here, maybe to fake actually the natural light to come in. Okay, what I'm talking about. Let's go to this view. So here there's window, 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 window. So light actually comes through there, even through this big opening. We could extend this area like a little tunnel so there could still light come in. And here, this area, we should maybe extend a little bit because there's still a little bit of light coming through there too. So you see, this is kind of dark. This is a little bit brighter. That's kind of like what I'm talking about. We should close these spaces. And here, there you can see how the light can come actually through. But you see how dark actually this area is compared to here. Very good. Okay. So let's go back to here and see what we can do to finish this a little bit. And we're finishing, I'm more talking about the architecture modeling. So maybe, yeah, let's do this. So we will simply select these edges here, and then these 3 edges along the x-axis, we push a little bit further like this. Very nice, thank you. And then here along 45 degrees. Yeah, what's 45? A little trick. I draw this line to here on purpose. Now, this line I will select and rotate 45 degrees. Thank you. Because now I can simply extend this line at 45. There we are. There. Click. 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 Cool. And then go up. Click and click. There. Then we do the same here. That should fill everything. It did beautifully. Thank you. And all this stuff here I can remove. And we have somewhere here an opening. Actually, there are two openings. So something is here. And something is also here. This part I open. This part I open. Oh, that is kind of like plus minus okay. This is not something that we will see in the rendering, so I'm actually very heavily simplifying this right now. But this is something that can be very useful for how could I say that? The lighting. Because when I look at here, light can come through this opening and illuminate this back area a little bit. Lighting, what I'm talking about. You will see what I'm talking about once we actually bring this all into a render environment. This tunnel here I will extend a little bit. Maybe till there. Okay. Honestly, there's literally no light, so let's cap it. Very good. Yeah, this model actually starts to look really good. I opened this one on purpose so I can look into it. We can always later, via drawing a diagonal line, put this back in. Yeah. Save in between. So I quickly went into the space and took a look at the dining room and decided that's actually a good exercise to model it, because it shows you how we will simplify the space for presentation render purpose. We can simply continue drawing this one down. I will go into a top view. Okay, let's go back into parallel projection. Thank you. Till, yeah, we get this one plus minus there. This should be 16 feet. Thank you. How much do we have here? Do we have any usable measurement? Not really. Okay, it's just here. We just eyeball it. It's okay. This is really more something that will be useful for the illumination. Let me go to here. We have actually 20, is it 28 inches? Let's say, let's see, 28, yeah, so 28 inches. Okay. Sorry, 28 feet. Would be a tiny house. Oh, look how off this actually is. There we are. And then we go back and I try to, so you see what I'm doing. I will go here along this axis till I find this point again. Suck and suck. Very good. So this now I can delete. Then there's actually the interesting exercise. So here I will draw a face up over to there, there, and down. I will do the same here quickly. There. Very nice. And also here. No, actually I wanted this to be the same like this. There, click, and then the same here. Click. Okay, good. Then we do the same here. Click and click. Click and click. There we are. And yeah, how do we even all this stuff out? Okay, let's go back to what we have here. Are there any types of measurements? So this is a dining room, and there we have actually the measurement on it. So it says, yeah, 10 feet, still kind of like up there. Okay, good. So to SketchUp. So this has to be 10 feet. Okay, we can do this via a guideline along the z-axis, 10 feet. There we are. Oh, we're actually close. So these two lines here, I will now move up along the z-axis. There. Cool. By the way, we can just fill this one in, and then these lines here we also bring up along the z-axis. Nice. So then let's see, when I bring this over, what happens? Yeah, cool. It fills actually that space. This is not correct. Let's flip this. And oh, all these need to be flipped too. They're inside. Okay, good. Yeah, beautiful. When we go back to the image, I think we have it in here. Yeah, so there is actually, yeah, a midline, but we don't really have a height. There's no degree for this line. There actually is. Look at this. See this? 412. What's this ancient technology meaning? That means we have 1 point, 4 inches down, 12 inches over, second point, and that defines the angle. Okay, so now to do this roof, it's super easy in SketchUp now. We'll do this on this corner here. Yeah. 12 inches over, 4 up. So I will use a guideline in this case here. So there, 12 inches over. So technically speaking, 1 foot. Then I know where is actually this point here, and then this can go up 4 inches. Then I connect. Hey, there's actually now my line. Let's practice this one more time. 12 inches, and then this goes up 4 inches. Thank you. Connect there. Beautiful. So now you see how I'm extending the line. Also from here, I'm extending the line. Where these two meet, that should be where the geometrical center point of this other line here is. Oh, it's not really. Okay. Let's see where we made a mistake. Because if we did this 100% the same, it has to be accurate. Good. So this line 4 inches up. Okay, and then this here 1 foot in. Or 12 inches, same thing. 12 inches. Very good. And where is here the midpoint? Suck. There's the midpoint. So when I draw a line from there to there and then extend it, I find this point. Now from there, going to there, yeah, there you see It's all correct now. Goodie. Maybe when I typed in the numbers, as it happens a few times, SketchUp messes up really the entry, and then it uses more what I moved with the mouse than really what I typed in with the number. But basically, I have my height point. Now I have kind of like here these fragments. That's what I hate. So I will delete all this stuff. I will keep here this height line. That's actually important. And I simply draw in a new piece there. And then I can go ahead and say, bye bye, American apple pie. Okay. So how do we bring this over to the other side? Cool. Let's for the moment cap this. We can bring this line over along the x-axis. I lock it, and then I click to there, and then I click to there. Zock, 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 flop. There it is. See? How amazing. U and U be reversed. Okay. There. Yeah. Doesn't that look actually pretty good? I think so. Okay. And you see this gap in between, that's just empty because that's where the wall would be. Now, why did we do this? We can quickly cut in the windows there. We will do a super simplified version because all we want is just where is the brood opening, so where light can come through. I will do it this way. There's the midpoint. Then along the z-axis, 10 inches. Thank you. And then 71 inches along the z-axis. Then this goes from here 4 feet and from there to 4 feet. So you see where I took the measurements, and then along the z-axis, click and click, z-axis, click and click, x-axis, click, and same here, there. All this here we can open, or I mean clean up, and yes, open it. Cool. So that's actually a big opening of light that can come through there. Here, this is also another nice exercise. This will be, we will have somewhere 13 inches. This time I will do this with guidelines. So 13 inches. Oh, you see it was there, 13 inches. And then this will be 2 feet and 27 inches. And then from the top down, 14 inches. And then there's my rectangle. Thank you. And the same rectangle we have on the other side. So yeah, we do this with guidelines one more time. 2 feet and 27 inches. The measurements are pretty rough. Again, all I'm trying to do here is to have openings. Cool. Open, open, open. Now, how do we path this over to there? Maybe I show this. Now you can see how over various faces we can actually, kind of like flow guidelines. That's a very well solved tool actually in SketchUp. This is really well made, I have to say that. And all this other stuff here goes. There we are. And there we are. So this way, both windows on this and here, they have at least the same height. There's an 85 inches width in between. So ideally we can do this with a midpoint. There it is. 85 divided by 2 is 42.5. So 42.5 and 42.5. Yeah, that seems to be okay. It's a little bit maybe too wide, but again, fine for what we try to do. There. Awesome. So now we actually have an accurate opening for environmental light to later come into that space. And at the same time, we also built the interior space. Cool. Very good. At this point, it might make sense to group this. Okay, so that's grouped. We also need something on top. I will create the top here this way as a separate piece and group. So I can always hide it, look into the space and close it. Sorry, not close it, unhide it. How do we do the floor? Yeah, we will do this. Let's do it the same way. Click, click. No, wait, this is actually carpet. So this is hardwood floor. And there, wait, what did I miss? Oh, here. Good. Yeah, thank you. Then, yep, let's make this a group. And the last piece here, zoom, 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 and there. Good. You will also be a group. Individual objects. Okay. Let me show you now one little trick how we can further break things up, because if we now want to model actually on this and this face here for the wall, we can't really do this while looking inside the space because this kind of like blocks our view. So we might want to reconsider how we structure everything. And the problem of the tags is tags are kind of cool, but when we start combining different models from different files, we will get a nightmare of a tag layout here. So like with the console table we modeled, which uses no tags, we will do the same here, but we will use the outliner instead. So let's see here. This is actually ceiling. So this group, we simply give a name. Thank you. And this group, that is, let's say floor carpet. Then this is floor hardwood. Because then this way here, I can very easily show and hide the objects. Zup, zup, zup. There. See, pretty cool. Now this group, we will explode. You see then it's actually the outliner doesn't show that group anymore. The main reason why I do this, I would like to select, I wanna disconnect it. And the easiest way to disconnect everything here is, to be honest, let's delete the connecting edges. There, very good. And then this I can, do we use that one? No, let's just select this part. That's also where the carpet floor is under. Right click, make a group, and then we call this living room. Okay. Now we want to bring this back in. There, I simply model the missing parts back. Not very complicated. Okay, face orientation is good. There we are. Beautiful. I'm not going to make this a group because we still have to model in all the details, but I would say, yay, an hour later, we have actually a representational architecture model ready to be detailed. But before we can do that, we have to put in the walls for this room. We can see through the doors here. So I actually overlooked this. And this is kind of crucial because otherwise this area will be black or empty. It's also good exercise. Okay, very good. So we turn this on. Very good. And now is the question, yeah, how do we do this? It's actually pretty easy. So we will go ahead and add some guidelines. 5 inches for this and 5 inches for this. Very good. So now I can kind of like see where is everything. So from this corner here, I draw something down. I don't know if this is really 100% correct. It doesn't really matter much. Again, this is more something to help for illuminating and making the background complete. Okay, good. This should actually be 11 feet. Let's see. That's a little bit off. Okay. Good. Here 5 inches. Okay, then I have here this corner. Let's do this for the moment. So this goes over to there. This should go actually, oh, this is beautiful. You see, it creates this line perpendicular. That line is, let's say 40 inches. And then we can bring this back over to there. Very good. Thank you. And yeah, how do we continue? Let's open this one. We will model this opening in for the door because from here now we will see this, the thickness of the wall and these walls. So we should put that in. But the rest might be not as important. So let's actually hide all the other stuff. There we are. And so here we have to model in a tunnel. Very good. Yeah, we can easily do that. The guidelines now I will remove. The walk-in closet here. Now we are skipping. Similar to here, we will create a tunnel connection too. But before we continue, we want to put in the most important part while we are doing this, the window. So here, the height-wise, we will sample the height from here. That's perfect. Along the x-axis to there and then down. And then we want to bring in the dimension. So I will look from here. That's from where I took the measurement. And this will go over along the x-axis by 44 inches. This will come in by 50 inches. From the bottom, 10. Yeah, be careful. This went along the incorrect axis. And then along the z-axis, 71. Thank you. Cool. Then rectangle, delete, and then all the stuff here we retire. Okay, good. Now, we will continue modeling everything from here. Bring this up, there, and there. See, I always press the X, Y, or Z keys, so the arrow keys for the snapping. Then the stuff works really easy, like a charm clock. Cool. This here for the moment I open too, so we can look into it. All these faces are wrong. Right click and reverse face. Very good. Beautiful. Okay, let's hope that this for the moment is actually good enough. Oh no, this should be all good. Okay, so I think at this point, now we are ready to do our first task for the detailing, and that is cut in this opening here. I took some measurements, and the purpose of this exercise is not to rebuild this precisely to the inch. This is more geared as an introduction to how to model all these elements. So we will simplify things a little bit. And we also have to reverse engineer. So you see where I took a measurement. So from this corner to here, that's 4 inches and 2.5. And then from the ceiling, it's 1 foot. And the same here. Good. So let's do that. So here, 1 foot down. Oh, come on. 1 foot there. And then, oh, beautiful. You see how actually it goes at an angle. So 4.25 inches. And the same here. 4.25 inches. Oh, not be careful. 4.25. There. Is this actually 4.25? Yeah, it is 4.25. Yes. Okay, good. So this is where this outer frame would sit. Now we can model the frame. And then where the frame ends, that's then where the opening of the actual space would be. Here is a small sketch. So I simplified the design a little bit. Let's say it's 2.5 inches wide at the inner area. So here it is 1/4 inch. Oh, cool. You can actually select handwritten stuff. Wow. Oh yeah, the new version of macOS makes it possible. Pretty cool. Let's not get sidetracked. ADHD. And here the outside is 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so this shape I'm going to draw and then line it up along this line here, and then we will do a sweep. Good. So this is going to be my sweep path. There we are. But I'm starting to cut onto the walls. So you saw now this is not actually really good. So what I will do now is I will select everything and let's group it because I do not want this to be glued onto the wall. Okay, good. So this is now the piece for the kind of like the trim to sit on. Unfortunately, this wall is rotated. Is this going to be making everything complicated? No, not really. I'll show you why. So this one we will hide. Then can maybe go to here and go to the line tool. And so the easiest way is to, instead of trying to draw this at an angle, I just simply follow the y-axis. Okay, good. So, 2.5 inches. No, that's what we said. Then this is the inside, 0.25. And here, that's the outside along the x-axis, 0.75. Yeah, we could just taper it. Let's maybe along this axis, 0.75. Yeah, and then we taper it, so it's not too boring. Okay, good. So this piece now I would like to rotate. There, and then 45 degrees. Let's go into a top view. Make sure, yeah, see, it perfectly fits. You see how we did this. There, cool. Okie dokie. Now we can go to follow me and say, follow me, maybe. Thank you. Zack, there it is. Awesome sauce. I selected everything and deleted just to see if there's anything left. Sometimes there can be a line left for the path, but because I aligned my profile right along the follow me path, it got consumed. Beautiful. Now these lines here I can delete. This I will make a group, so it will not be able to be fused to the wall, and unhide all. Height, thank you. Also here the floor's height. Good. Yeah, there you can see now where this sits. Isn't it amazing? I think so too. And now we can actually use these corner points to draw the kind of like the opening. Okay, let's do this. So double click onto the wall, line tool, and then very carefully where this intersects sits rather actually on each other. I draw these lines. Suck. Cool. Then let's delete this one. Flop. There's the opening. Okay, how do we get to the other side? Let's actually undo this step and see via push and pull. Can we do this? Yes, we can. Actually, yeah. So what happens when I go to this edge? Oh, sweet. It connected it automatically. Thank you. Yeah, beautiful. Okay. If I want to be a perfectionist, this frame here, copy and paste. I put to somewhere else. And then I can do, where is actually just something I could click to rotate along the z-axis, and then here, this I bring to that corner point. Yeah. Okay, there you can see how we have actually this part added to it. So it wasn't too complicated. Then, since we're working actually on that door, we can continue working on that door. Down here is another small detail. So the doors open to the inside of the room. So that means that there will be a little bit of a gap or a distance, 2.5 inches, and then there is a stopper. The stopper is kind of like 1.5 inch and half an inch. And then this is 2.5 inches to the inside. Cool. Let's do that. 1.5 and half an inch might be possible to memorize. And ceiling height there. Maybe these two we can call I don't know yet what name to give those. Both actually we can even put into one group. There. Thank you. Cool. So into top view, and then we set, so it is, this actually has to sit, this is the long way, so I draw from there to there, 1.5 inches, escape. Then this was 0.5 inches. Yeah. And then we can go along the come on, the x-axis, 0.5. And we could close this. Let's do it this way. 0.25. Whoa. Why is this actually not doing it so nicely? It missed actually my alignments for the axes. Not sure what's going on, but anyway, this piece is pretty good. So I will move this one to here, and we have to also rotate it. To rotate it, ideally, we can do this in the top view. So, suck, and 45 degrees again. There we are. Thank you. And then this point we move to, this is kind of like from where I took the measurement to there. Thank you. And now we have to move this 2.5 inches in, but this is at an angle. Little tip, let's add a guideline. 2.5. There. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Very good. So to do a follow me, we need kind of like a path again. So there you see, I'm just drawing myself here a beautiful follow me path. Thank you to there. Okay, that's it. Then follow me, you along. What? Okay, one more time. Not sure what the problem was. You along this one. I guess it got confused with the object that was behind. Because this is drawn kind of like with an offset, now I can delete this. Pretty cool. And let's make a group there. Actually, I can drag this one in there. Look at that. Pretty cool, no? Yeah. And this is, I think, our house. Yeah. There you see, step by step, this actually gets really, really good. Yeah. Now this is very tight, but this is normal. This is actually where the door actually would sit in. Let's take a measurement. 1/4. Yeah, and that's exactly how much the door actually will be thick. So this is actually pretty spot on. So how do we do the doors now? When we go back to the photo, there's quite an offset, and then the door goes up. All we need to do is we will also create these pockets in there, but without all that trim work, we do this more nice and cleaned up. We will draw a rectangle at the ground, then we can find the midpoint, draw then a door up. We will, in this exercise, make the doors razor sharp fitting in so they can't rotate. For render purpose, however, that's totally fine. Okay, goody. And then we add a little bit of a distance at the bottom. So how do we start now? I will hide actually my my other stuff. You see how instead of using the tag system, I'm going to use the outliner a lot to structure my work. It's really beautiful. So we set from here to there, and then to there, and then back to there. That's where the door kind of like is positioned. There's my midpoint. Thank you. And we said we are going to make this super tight there. Then we can move this one up till, yep, that's actually where it would sit. Very good. And let's maybe bring this up by how much? 0.25 of an inch. 0.25 of an inch. So half an inch. Okay, good. Maybe 0.25 down again. Yeah, shouldn't be too excessive. Very nice. Okay. This is our door. We can, or we should make a group. We could call this door. Or double door. Very nice. Yeah. Okay, cool. Then we can go onto the face, draw all the rectangles onto it, push and pull it through, make a copy, move the door over, and then the only thing left is kind of like put another strip along the center part down here. This strip is kind of like it helps these two doors to touch each other, prevent sound and light, air to move. We have this huge gap at the bottom, which kind of like defeats the whole purpose. But yeah, it's a nice visual detail to have. So let's take a look at how we can quickly model the stuff. So I took some quick measurements, 8 inches, 4 inches, 4 inches, and 4 inches there too. And then this is roughly 1.5 inch. Cool. Okay, let's go to SketchUp. So like this, double click. Where's actually the inside? Okay, that's it. Whoa, what happened? Okay, let's go back. So we set 4 inches. Yep, and 8 inches. We might want to hide actually the other objects. So zack, 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 zack. Sehr gut. 4 inches and 4 inches. Very nice. So then let's actually draw in this. Good. And again, we are going to simplify this design. Now we need to create the pockets here. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. So, little bit of geometry Sudoku. First, we can go ahead and delete these guidelines. So we do not need those anymore. And then we have here this midline that goes up. Cool. Okay. So what's actually the length? So this is 5 feet 8 inches and a quarter. Oh, great. Good. Let's, for the moment, do this. It's easier. So 68.25. Let's take a note. 68.25 inches. And we would like to subdivide that space by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 68.25 divided by 5 is making this to 13.65. Okay, good. So let's see if this works out. There. Okay. 13.65. Enter. Was it multiplied by 4? Okay, maybe let's do this manually again. Along the z-axis, komm schon. Z-axis, thank you. 13.65 and 13.65 and 13.65. What's the distance here? 13.65. Very good. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so then we can draw actually here these guidelines or helper lines. Good. So this is all set. Very good. Now we have this actually, let's say, gridded up. The outside frame is correct, but now we need to have kind of like along each line an offset. Yeah, how can we ideally do this? So the offset is the width is 1.5, which means 3/4 of an inch each direction. Here, this way, this is pretty easy. So 0.75 and 0.75. Now you have to be careful with your guideline and the correct orientation. 0.75 up and down here is easier. Well, SketchUp can still mess it up. Never trust it. Cannot be trusted. Trust me. I had my trust plenty of times broken by it. And 0.75. And last one, 0.75. Phew. That was something. Goody. So delete, delete, delete. These were just helpers. Because now we can go ahead and say, ta-da, and ta-da, 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 ta-da. Like they say in A-Team. I love it when a plan works out. Fun fact, actually I spent today 5 hours on 2 videos and then the system crashed and I lost the recordings. That's fun, trust me. Then we can select all this stuff, get ready for, we still having to do this manually. It's okay. Push and pull and cut through them. And look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Looks pretty cool, no? Yeah. There. It's kind of nice. We can agree on that. Okay. We could, if we want now, if we want to be fancy, maybe point 0.25, let's say, push this in. But we just keep it where it is. This is all good. And thus, no, actually, no, actually, I will do this. Flop and flop. The reason why, actually, no, I will do it this way. Let me see. Yes. This is actually how the wood parts are built. Even while these are white doors, they're just painted. And this is how the building elements are. These lines I'm drawing right now will be very useful when we have to apply textures to the correct set of faces. And there. Awesome sauce. Okay, how do we do the window? Window we can do this way. There, very good. And I'm looking from this view now. Double click with shift. I'm double clicking like there's nope, no tomorrow. But do not double click into the door. We just want to double click all the window parts, and we move this to the midpoint. So I select here, where's the midpoint? There it is, very good. And then all this, right click and group. So let's give these groups names. Double door glass. 1S, 2S. Actually, I don't know. So 2S. I might embarrass myself. Glass. Glass. Yeah, glass. It's 1S in German, 2S in English. This is a double door. Very good. And then these two. Let's make a group. Zack. Cool. Okay. Then we can now show our house. There. Let's see here. Double door. Yeah, I can give this group the same name. And then we will do a copy of this. Copy from this corner to that corner. There. Now this is actually inside. And if I don't want to see the glass, I can just turn this on and off. Pretty nice. Yeah, no? Okay. So last piece left is do actually this trim piece. There. So that thing that flows down there. Let's take a look at the reference. So this piece here. And we will use this element here as a guide. This all is actually connecting very tightly. So this is where these groups intersect. Very good. So you go to there. Thank you. So there's a line now. And then how much do we bring this over? 0.5. Okay. And 0.5. So 1 inch. 1 inch might be a little bit excessive. Let's see how this works out. There we can fill it. Very good. And then we bring this down only to there, there, and make this a group. Now this will go into just that door. Okay. Very good. Yeah. So in case this would swing open, at least this face and this face, it would be flush, which in the reality there, the house, the door I have, it is not. Okay, very good. So that door is actually finished. Maybe since this was a little bit labor intensive, what could we do that's a little bit more less mind frying? Let's do the trim, and we'll do the trim inside this room first, because then we can do the trim outside. But before we do the trim then here, we should build actually this stuff. Okay. Let's go ahead. Save first. So I worked a little bit ahead. You can see now there is already the baseboard and a little bit of quarter round along it. Actually, a little bit of explanatory part. Why do we have these things? What do they for? So the baseboard simply is there to protect the drywall, particularly the bottom here. Feet will smack against it, can easily damage the drywall. So besides the baseboard looking nice, the main function really there is protection. Then in this case here, the quarter round that goes around it, that's actually covering up the gap between the hardwood floor and the baseboard. the hardwood floor isn't really cut to touch the baseboard. There needs to have a little bit of a gap because during the summer or winter, when air moisture changes, the wood expands and shrinks. So the gap will get bigger and smaller. Not much, but enough. So we have then this quarter round that goes around it. Inside the sketch here, you see it's 2.5 inches by quarter inch and 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, and then it connects it. And then here, this piece is 1/2 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so how did I actually, model then these two elements here? You essentially can do this in whatever view you want. So for example, I go to this view and parallel, and this is 3.5 inches. Very good. Then we set this is 0.5 inch. We have up here 0.25 inch, and then this line is at an angle height-wise 0.75. So 0.75 down. Then here I connect this. Suck. And there I now have the start and end point. And then this I can remove. Cool. So this piece, I will make a group so it doesn't fuse to anything. To do now the quarter round, this is 0.5. And this is actually 0.75. To put in a perfect arc into there, this needs to be 0.5, 0.5. So here this goes 0.25 up. That sounds confusing. Here, let me show you why. So you see start point and end point of the arc. There's our arc from there to there. And move this till it says tangent and vertex. Click. Beautiful. There we are. Triple click and then make group. Cool. Okay. So then this way you can create these two pieces. Then, yeah, so where are we in our space? Let's get them to somewhere where they are usable. So let's say we want to run them across here. First, let's rotate them. There, thank you. And then I make a copy. Put that copy to maybe here. Okay. Taking a look from the bottom now is a lot easier. There we are. Okay. So from here, zip, zip, I will run the baseboard. I can go into edit mode and then draw along this geometry the path I need for this follow me command. There, that's one direction, and I mean, that's technically speaking just an extrusion. There's the other one. Cool. So because this is just one direction, I'm going to just push and pull this because then I don't have this section line on it. Which means, hey, I can also, by the way, simply bring to there. Okay, good. Then double click and click, 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 and click. Very good. Follow me. You suck. 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 Yeah. Not always. What's going on here? Yeah, so SketchUp is a little bit cranky. Doesn't know what to do. So these lines, so objects are in its way. So let's hide them. then when we go back, even while actually the follow me command cannot work with geometry outside of its group or so, these edges still confuse SketchUp. You see this way, then it works. Okay, let's show everything again. Unhide Apple Shift E. Okay, Apple Shift E. Thank you. And hide this one. Hide. Very good. Okay, nice. How do we do actually crown mold, not crown molding, the baseboard that goes around a corner like here and then to there? Well, it's pretty much the same process. I will actually go to the select command, select these two, and make myself first a copy. And yeah, where do I put them to? Here, there, into the corner with you. Just a backup. And the reason why I did this is these two I would like along the z-axis rotate yeah, 90 degrees. Very good. And then I can put those two onto this corner here, because then we'll start with this, double click. From here I retrace these corners again till there. You see I have to stop there. That's where it ends. Let's see if SketchUp is in our favor, and of course it's not. Big shocker. Okay, so hide there, and okay, let's do this one more time. Thank you. Oh, it's so nice when you work. Cool, thank you. Then here we do the same. Double click, go into edit mode, click, 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 and click. Be careful with the snapping. It's a tiny detail. And probably, yeah, we have the same confusion there. Hide. It's okay. We will make it work there. There. Beautiful. Apple Shift E to unhide the stuff. Cool. Yeah. Very nice. There are some old floaters. There, we move them around. The baseboard and quarter round, you see actually it starts occupying a lot of groups. So it might actually be a good idea to put this all into one group that makes sense. So here I will try to hide everything there. Yeah, okay, here, this. I will actually make this a group too. Make a group. And then, come shot. Wait. Hey, you too. I said make a group together. Okay, good. And then this will be baseboard profile. So you can always find that group really easily. And then all this stuff together, one group. Oh, now I see. I just made a group. Slightly bizarre. Okay. There. There. And then inside this group, I can always plug all the other pieces in, and then it's just one click to show and hide them. This is much, much easier. Okay, just effective working. Very nice. Yeah. Double door, double door. These tiny details will really add a lot of, how could I say that, material for your eyes to see or digest. You see the geometry is very simplified. This is also a beginner video. But this is also a really good showcase, and you will see this when we do the renderings, that you can spend the time on modeling everything super precise, but there is actually a little bit of truth to it. When we rebuild virtual worlds, we can get 80% close. The last 20%, I'm just making up these numbers, our imagination actually puts in. The main goal of this exercise is, let's say we work with a client, they can recognize their space. So we try to do this as believable as needed, not as accurate as possible. I mean, if we get the money for it, cool, why not? Now, if you like modeling, perfect. It's a really nice Zen-like activity. But if you don't get the money for that level of detailing everything, because what's the point now when it's more like, hey, how could we maybe restyle this area? Can we put in some other furniture, wallpaper treatment, or whatever? For that task, we just need a quick yet functional 3D model. Anyway, I think I'm starting to ramble. It's also already 1 a.m. TikTok. I need to wrap this up. So we will do now actually the window and the door. Also here we are going to simplify everything a little bit. Also making this tick better. For example, I find it just hilarious, these inaccuracies. You see how the window edge and here the door edge, they don't line up. And I ask myself, why? Why? It wasn't that difficult. I mean, it's just all standard stuff they built in, but somewhere I feel like somebody didn't really pay attention to how all this stuff then matches up. Anyway, enough complaining. How do we find the opening for this area and the window? Pretty much the same way how we did it here. I did measurements from the outside, and then I took height measurements and then distance measurements. That basically then told me exactly where, for example, the baseboard, and not baseboard, the trim has to start. And then this then will define the inside edge. Huh? Pretty good. Okay. Easy. So let's get going. So this is 16 inches and then 6 feet 10 inches high. This is also 16 inches. Okay, with that knowledge, let's go ahead. I will actually work more now from the outside. That's a lot easier. And 16 inches. 16 inches. And what was it? Short-term memory. 6 feet 10 inches. 6 feet 10 inches. Very good. Okay. So that is now where this sits on. Really good. We can actually see we have this door trim. But yeah, on this piece here. So let's make a copy. Copy and paste. Oh, I pressed copy and V, but then I was just waiting for the piece to pop in. So here it is. So under my mouse, I will just click it to there. Good. This object is rotated. Not a big deal. Let's unrotated. So here you 45 degrees. Thank you. Very good. You see this bounding box? That's kind of crazy. How can we fix this? That's going to be very easy. First, I will line this up to there. Very good. And this thing here, I will drag out. Put this into Foyer. So it's its own group. It's out of this group here. Then right click and explode. First, because then we can select actually all the necessary faces like this. Yep, that. Oh, wait, not this face. Oh, nearly made a mistake. Because you see, this face goes all across. I just only need all the faces I need to move. So those I have selected. And then we just stretch it there. Ta-da! Then triple click make group. Cool. Then this is garbage. Okay, very nice. So because I have this one perfectly positioned, now I can go ahead, double click onto my wall object. So I go into edit mode. From the outside, this will be a tick easier. And there you see how I am. You said it correctly. Drawing the stuff onto it, and let's open it. Nice. Okay. Okay, so that basically is opened. If we pay attention to here, then we can see how well there's actually material under it. That's kind of like the frame where everything sits it. Even here at the bottom, and then you have the stepping stone here. So this is kind of like something we need to accommodate for. So we will simplify this. And I have somewhere also a drawing for this. So here's actually a drawing of the door. So this is the inside, 1.5 inches. And then the whole thickness here is 6 inches. So that means from this view here, double click. There we extrude 6 inches down, and I go along the z-axis and connect it. Same here, 6 inches, and then along the z-axis down, click and connect it, and do the same there. Beautiful. And if we want, yeah, let's do the same. No, let's, I don't know yet. Or technically speaking, yeah, possibly. Yeah, we can always remove it afterwards. So here, you to you, and then you to you, and then all these unwanted guests we remove. Okay, very nice. So we have actually modeled in now this opening. Let's continue with the less work intensive part. Let's do the window up here. We have a little bit of this trim. There's a distance 8.5 inches. Okay, so that makes it actually pretty easy. So we want to rotate along, and this is actually the correct axis, but where's the midpoint? There's the midpoint. Zip, copy, rotate. And then that piece we will move up 8.5 inches. Okay. Now there is an arc here on top. I have absolutely no idea what the distance is. I have it somewhere documented, but if we take a look at the space down here, we're not really going to see what's happening up there. But we can still put something in like an arc. So we will select this face and this, no, not that edge, this face. Yep. And move these faces down. Okay, very nice. Good. The reason why I moved this one down is so I have now more space. I can then put in actually an arc, and hopefully we can do then the follow me too. So back to this group. Here's the arc command there and there, and it does not do that. Frustrating. Shocker. It's SketchUp. What happens if we delete this? Nope, it doesn't do it either. Okay. Yeah. Are we lost? No, not really. What's actually the distance here? So the distance is 72 inches. Okay. Let's draw a line right there. Okay. Because then I have here a midpoint. 72 divided by 2 is 36. So here, let's draw a line up, 36. Okay. The main reason why I did this is now we have actually the correct height point. There. Let's click the arc. Let's hope actually it allows us to adjust the segments. Okay, it doesn't do it. Shocker. Shocker, shocker, shocker. We can change a segment actually right now. If you take a look at the bottom, it says option plus minus to change the number of segments. So option plus, 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 16 sides. Now yeah, actually I get a readout. 18, 20, 22, 23, 24. Click. Yeah, okay, this is better. Very nice. Let's delete this. And then also here, this filling I want to get rid of. And I'm really praying now that when we fill this, that I can select this and yeah, run it across it. Thank you. Somewhat successful. So, wait. Let's try this out. You see how I'm drawing a line there and I'm drawing a line there. You might ask yourself, why do I do this? This helps me to, when I go back into edit mode here, actually just delete these vertical faces, and you see the lower part all remains there. Okay, good. Yep, all that is gone. So there I have this piece left, and now there. Okay, good. Yeah, beautiful. So this is that should be open. Why is that actually not open? That's interesting. Okay. I will make this open. This I open too. There. And this. I open. Actually, hold on. I will not open this. I will do the following. I will push. Oh, no. Never mind. Never mind. I have to do it. Open it. Because then now, very easy. I hope you don't get motion sick. There, I just draw in all these missing lines. Fortunately, the design is pretty not very complicated. So and then we encounter this stuff. Oh, I love it. Midpoint to midpoint. Ah, interesting. But this is not correct. You saw the snapping was radically incorrect. So, what do we do now? I'm not sure if this is the same case actually on your side. Okay. So what I try to do, as we can see, it doesn't really work. So I will go back to undo a lot. Because hopefully there's still a possibility to save all the stuff. And there is, because this will go, you go, you go, you go, you go. I just keep actually this outer line. There. Very good. I should put in this face here back. So I have this as a backup because that's actually my sweep piece. But these faces go and you go there. There. Okay, very nice. So I have now a consistent path where this goes up, goes down. Very nice. So let's try that out. So you, whoop, whoop, yeah. Perfect. There. Technically speaking, that was easier. I try to do it the other way. Sometimes that works too. Sometimes it does not. Okay. Again, I on purpose kept this one in. So you see how sometimes I also have an idea how it should work. And then if it doesn't work, I need to figure out a different way how to do this. Most important tip of the day, never forget to save. So I just saved the design. Apple Shift E. Let's see how everything looks like. Good. So we have now the space for the opening. So that's now easy to retrace. There's that. And then here, I still have the same vertex number. And what? Oh, wah, wah. I drew this on actually not on the group. So let's go into edit mode for the wall. There. Beautiful. Now we can look through. But I want to extrude this one. Putting this with lines is easy. With the arc is more complicated. So I will undo this, this opening and push and pull this out. Till there. Okay. That's pretty much the same distance we have. And Let's delete this. Okay. Very good. It's not 100% correct. We have actually the exterior. So we have the interior wall and then we have the exterior siding. But again, we don't really see this. We see everything more from the inside. So these faces I will see. All this other stuff I don't. So what we have here is actually perfect. Good. So with that done, now we can take a look at these elements. So this looks like 4 inches thick. I took a measurement and then 2.5 inches for the thickness. And then here we say where the arc starts, that's where the horizontal line goes. Okay, so I will hide all this. There we are. And there's my tool. And we said, where's the height point? There. And then this goes over to there. And then 2.5 inches down. That's there. Very good. Again, make sure you really snap to the correct elements. Otherwise, you don't get, like right now, beautiful face fills. Then at the center, we have this too. So where's the midpoint? There it is. 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 divided by 2. 2.5 divided by 2. Do we do this? Nope, I didn't do it. Okay. So 2.5 divided by 2. Now it's 1.25. Zack. Zack. And that means up, over, down, over. Or not. Oh, here this line is missing. There. Beautiful. Okay. Zip, zip. And that whole thing we said will be 4 inches. Very good. And let's make a group so it's hidden. Not hidden, it's joined. Yeah, there you see. Actually, it starts to come along. I have a dimension here 0.25, 0.75 for these elements. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's quickly maybe try this one out. That's where the glass will sit. It's a good exercise for modeling. I will, in this case here, hide actually this part. So I just have the raw edges of the architecture and this element. And I will put in a new flat piece. What's actually the distance? So this is 32.25. And we would like that to be divided by 32.25 by 3. So 10.75. Okay, so 10.75 guideline and 10.75 guideline. And let's see, what's this? 10.75, thank you. Then the same down. And one more time. Okay, very nice. Good. We can draw our lines if we want to now, or we now here 0.75, so that is 0.325. So a few more guidelines. 0.325 and 0.325, and the same here along the z-axis. And the same down there. And after this exercise, you can do this stuff blindfolded. Very nice. Then, yeah, we can go ahead and in a simplified way, we trace actually this stuff. Ah, yeah, careful there. Where are you intersecting? Whoa. Hmm. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. There. That's why it got confused. It didn't really go down exactly along the z-axis. Did I say don't trust SketchUp? Do not. And the rest here is pretty easy. If you want, just play fast forward there and here these pieces. Now I can oh wait, what's going on there? Oh, so you're good, 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 good. You're not good. Or maybe I'm missing a line here. Is that what's going on? Yep, that was it. Suck. And then, yeah, the inside. There. Cool. Okay. Quick clean up. This whole thing we extrude by how much? 0.75. And then we will make this a group. Okay. And 0.25 this goes in along the y-axis. I mean 2.5, sorry. It's getting really late. I need to go to bed soon. My brain is shutting off. We make a copy with the move command along the x-axis and pressing the alt key, click. Yeah, so how do we do the window? Let's draw every individual face. No, we're not going to. Hold on 1 second. I want to check something. Oh, there are some leftovers. You all think you're important, but you are not. Thank you. Let's clean all these leftovers. There. Okay, good. Apple Shift E and Command E. So how do we do the window? Super easy, actually. Yeah, we'll click to here. Let's see. Yep, that is good. Then I will do the same there. Try to find the correct snapping. There. Very nice. Thank you. These two I will actually group together because it's just one piece. And then I will move this one along, yeah, the x-axis kind of like to there. So when this is 0.75 here from there along the y-axis, let's move it to the midpoint. Cool. Okay. So this the window geometry is really big, and it's kind of intersecting the rest. That is actually fine. It doesn't matter because it won't show up in the rendering. It's a little trick. The windows will be good for casting reflections onto it. If we would actually see the reflection on it, or yeah. All right, no, we don't. Well, I mean, there's a little bit of reflection on it. Otherwise, it kind of like is clear. There's a little bit of reflection of the mirror. Okay, there we don't really see much. Okay. So we can simplify this just by a flat surface, which later we make transparent and give this a little bit of a reflection. Goody. Okay. I'm starting to really crash. The orientation we want to flip. There we are. And then with the arc here right now, let's skip this. Essentially, we would draw a line angled, vertical, angled, and then we have to make our arcs. We could draw these arcs extended from here and then offset them with the offset command. But because we're not really going to show this, we should at this point know how to do this. So if you would like to do, we just keep this off so we can move forward and focus actually on the door. That's the more interesting part, and that's also the element actually we now from here will see. Okay, again, let's save and then to the doors. Since it's getting pretty late, let's try to wrap this up. The door is actually not really complicated. You see it's 3 feet wide, and then it goes down to the ground. It sits on the threshold, and we will make this 1.5 to 1.25 inches thick. Left and right, there's also a support part, as you can see. So the easiest way to start modeling everything is just start with the door, and then from the center we go to the outside. Okay, very good. So 3 feet. I will go to kind of like maybe, yeah, no, I will stay in this view, but this element I will hide. So I can create myself here a guideline till the midpoint. So, and then 1.5 feet and 1.5 feet. Very good. So then along there, I can create myself the door. This goes, now we set 1.25, and this actually goes down to the ground. Okay, and then we will bring this up by 0.75. It sits on the threshold, and there's also the molding in front. Okay, good. Very good. Let's then triple click this whole thing and make this a group. And then we can call this front door. Okay, very nice. The next piece then is what's here left and right. Here's a sketch. The inside is 1.5 and then the outside is 2.5. I have a dimension here, and then the depth is 6 inches. Okay, easy. That's a wrong application. So Yeah, we can zoom to here. The guidelines we can actually delete. There we are. And then we said this is 1.5 inches along the x-axis. Okay, then do we have a measurement? No, not necessarily, but it should be 6 inches deep. Okay, so since it should be flush here, we will just draw the lines along there. Now, how do I find actually the depth? From the midpoint, I simply draw a line 6 inches. And then 2.5 divided by 2 is 1.25 along x, and x the other direction 1.25. And then I simply continue drawing in the missing lines. And then here the centerpiece I remove there. And then this whole piece, that profile I extrude down onto the ground. Cool. Whoa, no, haha, I made a terrible mistake. I thought I had the door grouped. So what happened here? I see. Okay, so explode. Didn't do it correctly. Okay, then again, 1.5. Zack, zack, zack. You see it. It's kind of like machine work. And there and zoop to the bottom. Thank you. And make a group. Thank you. And then copy this to there. Okay. Beautiful. Cool. So the door is not necessarily floating. It sits actually on the threshold. So let's quickly model that one. So from there to there, thank you. And then this piece, we model till there. And there we can see that, oh, it's actually not really, how could I say that? Fitting correctly. So this piece, we go model that to there. Very good. And this here, we model that to there. Okay, so we might want to hide actually this hardwood floor so we can better see what I'm doing. I'm drawing a line up here. And then I will do the same there. So I slice the face, and now I should be able to, yeah, extrude this one out, go to the other side. There, beautiful. Okay. And then here I draw a line. You might ask yourself, why? Because now this is actually a single face and this has to go down 0.25. Yeah. So when water comes, it actually flows down. And we can make a group. Now there we see we have flat surface and then zip, water flow down. Beautiful. Okay. Good. So that piece is kind of done. Now, how do we do the window quickly? There is a piece on the bottom. And might have to, yeah, how do we do this? it sits a little bit inside, and then there is this element. Yeah, we will simplify this. Okay. Simplifying because we want to get done, but at the same time also we want to get done. I will create myself here a guideline 6. Oh, it really is that far. Okay, good. Then that's perfect. That means so click, 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 and to the end. This we just make an inch high. It's fine. Triple click, make a group, and then make a copy. Let's see, oh yeah, that was correct. So now this corner there, I will line up with that corner. Zack. There. Perfect. Now it sits in there. We can now also do the missing crown mold, not crown mold. Why do I say crown molding? The quadrant. That was 0.5, and then along the z-axis 0.25. Here it was 0.5, and then is it too difficult to draw in that view? Let's see. Okay, I might have to hide actually all the stuff. Hold on, how much is this? Oh, that's why. This can't be 0.5. This has to be 0.75. There, thank you. And this we simply push and pull till there. Okay. Let's make this a group. You see these details here are terrible. That's the reason why these corners that stick out are trimmed off or chamfered. This piece then we can put into this group so we can show and hide it all at the same time. Very nice. So that is kind of done. And then the last piece, yeah, this one here. So again, 75, one piece, and then 1, 2, 3, 5. So where do we start? Let's actually from this corner to this corner. Good. This is a nice flat plane. My ground floor is getting really in my way, so let's hide this one too. And I can actually also hide all that other stuff here. So very good. That makes it also easier for you to follow what I'm doing. Then we will We will actually do a different modeling technique. So here I find the midpoint. There it is. 0.75 divided by 2 is 3.75. No, 0.375. 6, yeah. Same here. And now, when we have 5, what's actually the height here? That is 97.5. So 15.95. Whoops. Hold on 1 second. 97.5. So 79.5 divided by 5, 15.9. Why did I say actually 97 instead of 79? Well, that's how we say it in German. It's 100 or it's 5, but it's 100, 5 and 20. Not 125, which makes more sense. Now we have to do it complicated. Okay, so 15. Let's do this one more time. 97.5. Yeah, 15.9. So 1 up, 15.9. Okay. But along the z-axis, please. And then 0.375. 0.375. Very good. Yeah. So here's actually the little pattern trick we're going to do as long everything here works out, which it does not. There are some lines which are incorrect. Okay, so one more time along the z-axis, 15.9 along the z-axis, 0.375, same here again, 0.375. Good. Yes, that's the way how this is supposed to work. Okay, so you see like line, 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 line. This line, I will make a copy to there. Good. So now I need this line, and this line. And make a copy. Make a copy. You see then this rather gruesome task isn't even that bad anymore. And oh, what's going on here? This is actually incorrect. What's wrong with my measurements here? 79.5. Okay, one more time. 79.5 divided by 5. 15.9. Okay. So what's this distance? 15.9. Okay. Good. Let's see. What did I do wrong? 15.9. Ah, okay. There's my 15.9. Yeah. That makes actually sense. Okay, undo, 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 undo. Okay, then here 15.9. Oh, yeah, yeah, this is actually the end line. And 0.375. Yeah, here. This is the piece that actually will fit inside. Yeah. So we do this one more time here, one up along the z-axis, 0.375, because I need this as the landing edge. So U, and U. Copy and to there. Copy and to there. So if everything is correct, this line here should perfectly fit onto there. It does not. Yeah, I give up. Okay, I'm really getting tired. Let's call this a good. We try to even these things out, period. What distance we have here? 14.4, 15, yeah, okay. So whoop, we select everything besides the faces, and then we make a copy. You see how I made the copy, moved it over, and then we can nope, try to see which one it is for flipping. There, very good. And now to make sure nothing will weld, I will make this into a group first. So then this point I move to, let's say, to here, and then this along the x-axis I will bring to there. Good. So you see now how they lined up. Now this group I will explode. So I fuse everything back to there. There. And then we just clean this stuff up. Very good. This whole thing, then we would like to extrude by 0.5, not too much. Select it, then we make this a group. Show everything. Or show everything what we need to see. And then here, few more adjustments. This we will bring back so it sits in there. It's a little bit recessed. And then along the x-axis, I move this over. And then along the x-axis, I bring this back, snap it to there. Very good. Okay. Also here, the little trick about how do we do the glass, same deal. So I will go here to this corner and go to here. So now I press the left arrow key for the Y orientation, snap to this point, memorize this point, and there it is. Or it should. And in case SketchUp has seizures like here, then we just snap to one point, select the upper edge, and then along the z-axis, we just drag this up. Very good. This piece, I will make a copy. So from this corner to here, there. Left orientation, make this a group. And then along the y-axis, 0.25, we move this a little bit forward. This is different than the glass itself. Actually, this is inside the glass. We will simply move this a little bit forward. I mean, put it inside. This is all good. Whee! Ugh, 3 o'clock soon. Okay. There. Now we have the stuff. And honestly, what will make sense? So this we will call door. Maybe all this here we make one group. And then this we will call door support or whatever. This will make a group. Window. So you see how I'm condensing everything inside the outliner, so it's more logical. And then this and this, so the door and this is the threshold. Oh, the threshold has no name. There, okay. All this together into one group. Front door. There, see, we can show and hide this easily. Good. So the really last piece is now to create kind of like this wall and this area. We will do this kind of in a simplified way. Here we have to drop this down a little bit because you see here it's a little bit of an offset, but we don't know how much. It doesn't really matter also how much. However, it is a detail we will see. So this line here should not be the same like here. And the ceiling we need because this blocks actually some of the light. Okay, goodie. So let's quickly do this. So we will first actually go ahead. Here is my wall, and I'm going to edit mode, and I will connect actually these lines there. Very good. Then this will go over to there. This will go over to there. Very nice. This I will bring down to here. Same there. Okay. Then this line that goes up to there, goes over to there, goes down to there, and cross fingers. Yes, it did it beautifully. Very good. This is actually not 100% correct. This needs to be extended by, when this is 6, 3 inches, because it needs to be 9 inches. And here, let's make 2 inches, because this is actually wood, this is brick. The stuff here we can remove. Very good. I want to check something. Where are these edges actually coming from? Oh, that's why. It created an interesting thickness there. Nope, that's not really what I want. So this edge and this edge and this edge, that goes. Same there. I'm curious where actually this edge is coming from. So you see, I'm just cleaning this up a little bit. There. Sketchup sometimes likes to be pretty messy. application. Okay, good. Here, this we will connect. Very good. I should be able to remove this line there in between. So I wanna hide this. I want to hide basically everything that is not part of that space. Yeah, that's actually good now. There, okay, beautiful. So, here, then top view, and we don't have to be accurate in this case because it is really more, we're kind of like eyeballing the structure. So 5, let's say this goes over by 3 inches. So meaning this line here, I bring over by 3 inches because that's the brick wall. And also here, this line I will bring over this way by 3 inches. Oh, look at that. How do we do this now to make this flush easy? I can also, in edit mode, just move a point. And there you see actually it snaps automatically. Okay, beautiful. Then this goes up till there and click. This goes up along the z-axis till there and click. We make this the same height. It is not really the same height, but that's fine there. Then this front face we want to remove. Technically speak, well, do we see this extrusion? Yeah, let's actually put at least this piece in. How much is this actually? Let's say this way. 12. 12 feet. Okay. Sorry, 12 inches. I will delete this edge. So this one I bring over by 12. Then I will do the same on the other side. There we are. So when this is 5 and 4 and 4, so 4 and 4 is 8 and 5. Yeah, 13. There. Okay. And 13. And then I can connect these two. There we are back. Beautiful. You actually go up. I will do this kind of at a smaller scale here. You see how I'm just drafting them up because then I can actually, here, this edge I can delete. And these two I move up and then fuse them together at the top. Abracadabra, please. Yes, thank you. Good. So the last thing, because we kind of like have this wall, we don't make this arc, but we have the restriction for the light. Now we need to bring this piece down a little bit. Who really knows how much it is? When this is actually 10 feet, this looks like half of it. Let's say 4 inches, 5 inches. Let's go 4 inches. So you, oh, where do you go? Oh, the image is in my view. 4 inches. Okay. Then this we can remove. Yeah, the rest is very good. Yeah, and then when we show everything and take a look at the fruit of our hard labor, I would say we did it. So we move ourselves into this position from where we will render it, we will be able to see this part of the wall now, which is important. This is open, the light will come in, will illuminate this space. We have this piece model, so we can import it. So the modeling part of this video, I would say, is finished. Then we can take a look at the texturing. Have a good night. I need it.